Just want to welcome everybody to, I guess it would be our 8th signing day. So it's been some time, and I think recruiting is about formulating the future a little bit. Sometimes I guess the old adage would be you come in as the lamb, go out as a lion, and that's what we've been able to do thus far with every one of our recruiting classes. But with this one in particular, I feel like it's maybe our most solid that we've had in 7 or 8 years here. And we're very, very excited about the people that we have coming in. And I think we addressed some issues across the board that we needed to based on graduation. When you look at our recruiting class, we've recruited 4 linebackers. And all of these guys are very instinctive players, guys that have played multiple positions, tailback. I think 3 of them have played, all 4 of them have actually played tailback at one point in time. A couple of them have played in the secondary as well. So they're athletic guys. They're guys that can move, catch the ball, run. They're 220-plus pounds or so. T.J. Harrell's a guy from Tampa, Florida. He's a very highly recruited young man. He's playing an international bowl on Friday along with 2 of our other signed committed guys. And he's a very exciting player, highly recruited. Certainly we look back in the back here. Chris Fry is on campus right now. He's from Upper Arlington High School and down in Columbus. And a guy who's played corner. He's played a lot of positions for his football team, so very excited about him. Byron Bull is a Spartan, so he understands the nature of what goes on here, and I think it makes a statement when you send your son into a place where your other 2 sons have already been. I think it makes a statement in terms of how they've been treated and the type of direction that we're going as a football program. So excited to have Byron here. Again, another guy who's played quarterback, multiple positions. And then Deion Drake is a guy that out of Cass Tech, who was injured a lot of the year this year, didn't get back except for the last 3 games. But Deion's a guy that had a tremendous junior year, explosive, played running back as well as linebacker, and he's a thumper. And we're looking forward to those 4 guys coming. Defensive line, you've always got to, I think, address those defensive linemen as you move through the process. And I think we have an extremely strong defensive line class coming. Very exciting. Craig Evans, a guy that number 7 on that film was in our camp. Very powerful guy. He's got a lot of explosiveness. He's got great change of direction for a big man, about 6'3", 310 or so. And probably will be an immediate contributor in terms of this year's football team. David Beadle's a guy, state championship team in Clarkston, and a very well-coached football team. And a guy with a huge upside, big guy, 6'4", 295, very strong, athletic. And Enoch Smith's another guy that's very disruptive from Mount Carmel High School up in Chicago, coached by Frank Lenti, and just an outstanding program there. And Enoch's a guy that could play defensive end or defensive tackle with the 3 technique, and very explosive, can really, really run. And a number of those guys were all 3 of those inside players were in our camp. So we understand what's a little bit more about them. At the defensive end position, right now we have 2 guys, and Robert Bowers and Montez Sweat. They're both guys that have great length to them. They'll fill out to be about 240, much like Demetrius Cooper came in last year, and Demetrius now weighing about 235. But very, very athletic guys, can do a lot of things, gives us range. We recruited 1 defensive end last year, so this is a position of need. And we're looking forward to the guys that are coming to being a part of that. And then in the secondary, Deontay Copeland is a young man who runs a 48.22 400. He's the state champion down in Ohio. Reminds me a lot of Daquez Denard in a lot of ways, in terms of his demeanor, in terms of what he's done for his football teams. I think he ran for 2,500 yards as a junior, over 4,000 yards in his career there, as well as being a kickoff returner, punt returner, corner. He's played safety, great tackler. Jalen Watts-Jackson, again, number 1 in the film here, just had a dominant camp when he was here. And about 6 foot tall, great jumper, plays on his basketball team, very, very explosive, has great timing, has just a knack for playing the ball in the deep part of the field, and very excited about that as well. When you look at the other 2 guys back there, really, you look at Monte Nicholson, I feel like he's a dual threat player. I mean, I think he can play either side of the ball. 13.9 high hurdler, second in the state. He's a nationally ranked high hurdler. Big body, very athletic, played in the U.S. All-American game. Just along with, I think, Craig Evans did as well. But very, very good athlete. He's a pass catcher, down the field pass catcher. Would play X for us, big-bodied guy on the defensive side of the ball. I think he has the ability to be a tremendous safety, maybe even a corner. He's got length, and he can really, really run. Tough, good tackler, and really I feel like can really almost do it all. So we're very excited about him. Played in the All-American game as well, and was the #1 recruit in the state of Pennsylvania. And Matt Morrissey, who's the son of Jim Morrissey, is a former Spartan who played for the Bears in the Super Bowl. Matt is a guy who plays on his basketball team where they were runner-up to state champions, big school division last year. Very explosive, great ball skills, good tackler in the back end of secondary, maybe an outside backer, grow into it, maybe a safety. Right now he'll start a wide receiver. It reminds me a lot of Blair Whitey. He's a quick jumper and extremely disciplined player. So I think that's pretty much the defensive side of our football team. And then when you look over on the offensive side right now, we address the running back situation. I think we have two outstanding players in Gerald Holmes, who again reminds me a little bit of T.J. Duckett, and big, powerful guy, 250 pounds, could play a lot of positions. But we recruited him as a tailback, but I've seen him play on defense as well. So he's just a guy that is an outstanding player, football player in general. And Madre London, who's down from Fort Lauderdale, St. Thomas Aquinas, which is plays tremendous competition at the highest level in Florida, and just an all-around great running back. Great hands, very soft hands, elusive, runs with power, and we're very, very excited to get those two guys. Matt Sokol was on campus as a tight end, played quarterback for his high school team, but we found him in camps and in the 7-on-7 tournaments that were around. Outstanding pass catcher, great run after catch, big guy. He'll go about 240 here very, very shortly. So we're very, very excited about him, and he brings an added dimension because I think he understands the offensive concepts relating to football in general. On the offensive line, Brian Allen, another young man who is played in the All-American game, and or one of the All-Star. He was in the All-American game. I guess I'm getting them all confused a little bit, but Craig was in the Orlando game. But Brian, I think, is another guy whose brother plays here, and I think it sends a message based on him following in his brother's footsteps in terms of what's going on within the program, not just from a football perspective, but overall perspective. Tough, very tough individual. I think he's lost once in wrestling. He's 48-0 last year and a state champion. This year maybe he's lost once. I'm sure he'll correct that as the weekends go here in the next couple weekends. I think he's won 42-plus matches this year, 285 pounds. Probably will be an immediate contributor for us. Can play center, can play guard. Toughness, I think, runs in that family, and very, very, very excited about that. Chase Giannakis is outstanding young man. Really lived all over the world, so he's played football for a very, very short time. Big, tall, filling in, plays basketball, athletic, very smart, has toughness, sort of relentless type guy, and he's going to make his presence known as we move through the process as well here. And then Nick Padla is a young man from out here at Berrien Springs, Michigan, who very athletic, really doesn't come off the field for him. Another guy is going to grow into his body, 6'5", 265, 270 right now, but he's going to be a big, strong guy, and we're going to look forward to him as well. Our punter that was signed, Jake Hartberger, is probably one of the top two punters in the nation, and we're extremely excited to have that situation, much like we had with Mike Sadler, where he can watch probably watch for a year and then take over that punting situation, and we've been dominant on our special teams because of our great punting, whether it's Sadler or Bates or whoever it's been. That's been a big factor in our success here, and we'll look for Jake to continue that. So all in all, I feel like we've had an outstanding recruiting class. There's some other guys that are on the fence here or not yet completely signed without the papers being here, but we're very, very excited about those opportunities as well. I'd like to thank our staff and everybody involved with recruiting in terms of what we've been able to do this year. Just a great job by our staff. Recruiting has become about relationships. It's become so accelerated in terms of what's gone on that people are making their decisions faster and faster as you go. Obviously, you have some guys going down the stretch, and that's exciting for all of us, but the majority of people make those decisions earlier in the process, and so it does become about evaluating the player, getting them on campus, having a relationship with them, and establishing that trust relationship with their families as well. And I want to congratulate our staff on the job that they've been able to do. I also want to congratulate specifically Curtis Blackwell, the job that he did this past year. Did some of the different things that we tried to do and interact with our players have been, I think, instrumental in just cutting edge in terms of some of the things we've done, especially with our young people. So I would like to also congratulate him and Simone and our entire recruiting staff as well, Matt Muller as well. Winter conditioning started yesterday, so before I finish up, winter conditioning started on Tuesday. So we were in there at 5:30 in the morning, and it's a chance to reflect and step back and reestablish who we are. I think you have to do that when we've had the success that we've had this past year. You need to restart the engine, so you need to really back it up and find out why were you successful, what have you done, what are you going to do now to remain successful, and we were able to start that the other morning nice and early, and we'll go again tomorrow morning, so it'll be exciting. In addition, Mark Scarpinato, who's been a player for us these last couple of years, has decided to graduate this summer. He's 2 years ahead of time, so he's done an outstanding job in the classroom. He's been accepted to med school, and it's something that he's looked at and worked for very, very hard. And when you have goals, and whether it's the goals in football or your goals in any other areas of life, and you can accomplish those goals, we want to congratulate him and the job that he's been able to do here. So at this point in time, that's his decision. I thought it was important that everybody be made aware of that, and we want to congratulate him as a program entirely. And with that, I think I will take some questions and go from there.
Mark, you mentioned a couple people who still don't have their letters in. I know you have to be careful talking about specifics, but do you expect those people to sign with you and be part of this class?
Yeah, I do. I do expect that. But I think recruiting should be about a celebration and for everybody involved, and I think everybody needs to feel comfortable as they move through the process. But we're excited about those opportunities as well.
Mark, two players. Sokol, can you talk about, you talked about him being a quarterback, but the toughness factor that he brings, and Morrissey's willingness to go across the middle?
Sure, I think Sokol is a guy that he's sitting right back there, so you can ask him, but he was a quarterback. Now, I had him in camp, so I asked him to throw the ball around a little bit, so I knew he was going to play tight end right off the bat. Okay, but he is an extremely tough guy, great running ability. He showed that throughout his high school career. And then when you had an opportunity to watch him catch the football in camp and really in 7-on-7s on film throughout the spring, he was a dominant performer in a lot of respects. He's a big guy. He's going to put on weight. But I think the real key is I think he'll understand concepts, offensive concepts down the field relative to the passing game. Obviously, he's going to have to grow as a blocker a little bit, but he can be that mismatch guy as a tight end, and it'll be exciting to watch him grow. And, he could have an opportunity this year as well. And that Matt Morrissey, I just think Matt is a complete football player and athlete. Excuse me. I think that he's a guy that can go either a lot of different directions. His father was not a big guy when he came here, developed into a linebacker, outstanding linebacker. He shows hitting ability. He shows great ball skills. He's got the great ability to judge the ball. He's a big guy, about 6'3". He's guarding one of their featured players, whoever they play in their opposing basketball teams. He's guarding that dominant player a lot. He's a quick jumper, and Blair White was a great jumper. He's a 35-inch vertical guy, and I think that he's very, very similar. He can find the sweet spot. I think he'll be an outstanding blocker. So we'll start him probably looking at him at wide receiver, but he may cross over onto the defense as well. And so I think either side of the football, he's going to make himself known.
Mark, obviously you lost a quarterback kind of late in the game there, so there's no quarterback in this class. Was there a push at all late to add one, or is that with the timing, was it kind of tough to do?
I think with the timing, it was kind of hard. I feel very good about our quarterback situation right now. It also gives us an opportunity to look look towards 2015 as well. But you know, we had a lot of players on the board, and we were coming down the stretch, and so you can't. I think you have to decide which direction you're going to go. Sometimes you only have so many scholarships, and you know, you got to figure out what are your needs. And I feel very, very comfortable with the 3 quarterbacks that we have right now. I think all 3 of those guys are excellent. Obviously, Connor Cook's had a huge year, but Tyler O'Connor and Damian Terry are 2 guys that I think have excellent ability.
Coach, can you just talk about the way you guys closed? As far as you said, this might be your best class. Do you think this was the best close for you as well down the stretch?
Yeah, I think some of it. You know, I think when you close down the stretch, it's difficult sometimes. But you know, one thing that I've tried not to do in the recruiting process, and I think our coaches have done a great job with this as well, is we really haven't pressured people. You know, we've tried to make decisions based on giving people latitude. Sometimes maybe that costs us a little bit, but we've tried to do that. We tried to be very fair with people. You know, at some point in time, you've got to make decisions, and you have to move on as a program. And that's all relative sometimes. But for the most part, I think we've tried to do it the right way, and we'll continue to do that in that fashion as we go forward. You know, but sometimes, you do have to, as a program, take a stance sometimes. But I was excited about the way we came down the stretch and the players who made their decision to come to Michigan State. Very, very excited today.
Mark, can you talk about the impact of the Rose Bowl and the way you guys finished the season on the doors that opened in January, and did it make things easier?
Well, I think most of the recruiting is usually so accelerated now that a lot of it's done, but I think it helped us close. I think it helped us get on the national recruits down the stretch. I think it made a difference, and it sort of ensured what we were doing as a program. It basically, I think, gave people the stamp of approval that, you know, this is what we're doing, this is the right direction to go. We're graduating our players almost at an 80% rate. If those who stay the entire time, our grade point average is up as highest as it's ever been as a team. You know, we've won more games than we've ever won. There's a sign down there that says "Never Forget," which talks about the number of people that have gotten into problems here. Haven't had a guy get in a major problem for 207 days, so that's been a positive for us. So I think everything in this program right now is going in this direction, and that's a positive thing. And I think it goes beyond football, though, as well.
Coach Dantonio, what do you like the most about signing day? And I guess, do you get nervous still, or is it just, are you used to it now?
No, I don't really get nervous because we present the opportunities, and the individual, the recruit, or the prospective recruit, he ultimately makes the decision. As I said, you know, we haven't been a football program that have said you need to do this or this. We've just not handled things that way. So we've tried to give people room to experience us and to make a decision where they want to be here or they don't want to be here. And I think that's what young men have done. So do I get nervous on signing day? No. Do I get disappointed at times? Yeah. Am I thrilled at times? Yeah. But I'm not nervous. I think that whatever's going to happen sometimes, it's going to happen. There's nothing really I'm going to be able to do sometimes. It's pretty far along in the process. We'll do what we can within reason, and we'll try and be very transparent in terms of how we handle ourselves. All good, guys? Oh, Joe.
I know this has something to do also with someone who hasn't signed yet, but just looking at the defensive line class, is this the best group you've brought in your tenure?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's a dominant class on the defensive line. I think with this defensive line class, we can continue to establish ourselves as continue to be one of the top defenses in the country and in this conference, and that's a positive for us. But I'm also very, very excited about the skill players that we have, and the linebackers, and the offensive line, and the punter, and the running backs. So we have very good players. I would say from top to bottom, this is the and I don't mean to disrespect our other classes, but from top to bottom, I feel like this is a very, very powerful class in terms of players that will get on the field very quickly and make a name for themselves. Another one, Joe.
Kind of along the same lines, do you feel like you have more clout now And do you feel like the move to the East Division changes things at all for you moving forward?
I'm wearing my Rose Bowl pin. Okay, so I don't know. You know, I think we're moving in the right direction as a football program. We'll compete in the East Division. It's an extremely competitive division, but, you know, so is the West. So Big Ten's a tremendous conference. It's got a lot of great football teams in it, and it's extremely competitive. As I said, winter workout started, so we're right back to square one. We need to make sure that we, again, establish ourselves, who we are, what we have to do, and be able to move that process forward. And I keep talking about we got to be able to move the rock, and really that's the program. We got to continue to push it in the positive direction.
Coach, I know you don't get too wrapped up in rankings, but have you taken a look? This reflects one of your best classes as well in those recruiting rankings.
You know, I have not taken a look at that. I've been busy. Okay, but I'm excited about it. And I think we've always tried to look at the class and do the very best we can to bring our class in here that fits our needs. But when they come in August and they move around with our football team, that's when we'll start finding out more about our class. Because when they adapt to the surroundings here, when they have a chance to be in our program for a little bit, everybody's going to come under some adversity. They got to be able to establish themselves, and they got to want to be here to do that. You know, so that's all a part of it. And I think all of our players that have signed today want to be Spartans and are excited about it, and it'll get in your blood and it'll stay there. So that's very, very exciting to all of us.
Mark, when you, like last night at the Jim Thorpe Award dinner, how much does that impact when you go into a house of a young man to be able to, here's a guy a lot of people didn't want?
Yeah, you know, I guess I forgot about that because the day's sort of spinning out of control a little bit, but an opportunity to go see Daquez Denard, I mean, that is truly one of the highlights, I think, of my coaching career, to be able to see a young man accept an award like that as the outstanding defensive back in the entire country. And I think when you have people that are getting those type of awards, it points to the future that other people can do it. Sort of like going to the Rose Bowl or winning a championship. You know, it's been done. Once it's been done once, you know that it can be done again. And it gives people an added incentive to understand that, you know, great things are possible right here. You can become a Lombardi Award winner. You can become a Jim Thorpe Award winner. You can do amazing things here. And Michigan State's a great place, and will continue to be so.
Yeah, Mark, as you talk about, you know, attracting more national kids and getting into some of the higher-ranked players, does that create more headaches at times? I mean, what comes along with that?
Well, that goes with the job. Headaches, I guess, go with the job. So, I think it's, you know, you want to recruit the best players. You want to bring the best players in here. You want to bring the best people in here. It can't always be about just the player. It's got to be about the individual as well. But you want to bring the right people here that are going to fit our scheme, going to fit our format, going to fit our program in terms of discipline and the different people. So that's a part of it. I've seen great players go different places that they didn't want to be and fail. You've got to want to be where you're going. That's very, very important in this process.